Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the third Invest Newark Financial Fridays. It's July 31st. We look forward to learning about opportunity zones in Newark and the potential benefits for small businesses. Just remind everyone that to please mute your audio and stop your video during the presentation. You'll be able to unmute yourself and start your video to ask your questions directly to Chi Osu during our question and answer section at the end of the presentation. So let me start by introducing Invest Newark to you. I am Vanessa Quijano, the Senior Vice President of Business Development at Invest Newark. Here we are advancing economic prosperity for all Newarkers, and we do so by the following. We ensure you have access to knowledge, like today's session, like our Marketing Mondays. We also host procurement and certification prep. And then going to that, we also provide access to capital through different loans and ensuring that you know about different funds and loans and grants available for your small business. We also provide access to land. We are the first land bank in New Jersey. That program will be up and running at the end of August, so we'll be able to share information with you on that. And then we provide access to business opportunities. As I mentioned, we have access to procurement portal on our website at investnewark.org, where you can find contracts and bids. And also you can list your business on our business directory so people can find the services and products they require for their business. As I mentioned earlier, we've been helping businesses all through this COVID-19 pandemic by ensuring they get the assistance they need about COVID-19 emergency funding from federal, state, and local sources. If you still require assistance, please send us an email at capitalconsulting@investnewark.org. Now, I wanted to make sure that you know about our upcoming webinar. On Tuesday, we will be hosting the New Jersey Redevelopment Association to learn more about their small business lease grant assistance program. That program opens up its applications, their application process on Monday, August 10th. So we want to make sure you know everything you need to do to prepare for the opening of that application process. Please join us by going to investnewark.eventbrite.com to register for next Tuesday's webinar with the NJRA. With that, I will now introduce to our speaker for today. Mr. Chi Osu is the Chief Opportunity Zone Officer for the City of Newark. He comes with over 12 years of institutional private equity real estate experience and has been involved in acquisition, development, disposition, and recapitalization transactions totaling over $2 billion nationwide. Mr. Osu was previously with Lotus Equity Group as a vice president, where he led the acquisitions team and Lotus's social impact investment strategy. Prior to Lotus, Mr. Osu was in a similar role at Loeb Partners Realty as a vice president overseeing acquisitions nationwide. He began his career with JLL as a financial analyst with the financial analytics team, where he provided sophisticated financial analysis to clients and supported leasing brokers. Mr. Osu enjoys giving back to the community. So as a graduate student at NYU's Shack Real Estate Institute, he was awarded the President's Service Award for distinguished achievement and service to the NYU community. Further, he was elected by his fellow alumni to serve a 2-year term as a member of NYU's Shack Alumni Board of Directors. He is the former co-chair of membership for the National Association of Industrial and Office Properties, New York chapter. He previously served on the junior board of Friends of St. Jude Hospital for Children and Eagle Academy Foundation. So without further ado, I introduce to you Mr. Osu, who also represents Newark Alliance, another great Newark organization. And We look forward to hearing more about opportunity zones and how those benefits can be taken advantage of for small businesses. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Vanessa, for that warm introduction. I'd also like to thank the CEO of Invest Newark, Bernal Hall, the president and CEO of Newark Alliance, Aisha Glover, and the deputy mayor and director for economic and housing development for the city of Newark, Salad, for the opportunity to present here. And I also want to thank the participants in this webinar for signing up today. Now, the topic at hand is opportunity zones. It is an interesting program. A lot of people are talking about and writing about. There's a lot of complexity to the program. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to present a high-level overview of what the Opportunity Zone program is. I'm going to show you guys how to find out if you are in an opportunity zone or in an opportunity zone eligible census tract. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the resources available to small businesses, and also now explore the tax incentives to participating within the Opportunity Zone program and how the whole program works. Now, to get into it, the Opportunity Zone program was essentially an 8-page document that was part of the larger Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017. And to show how the program has sort of morphed and developed in complexity, that 8-page document has now ballooned to over 540 pages of regulations that was announced in December 2019.
You slept through the whole garage install? You were awake?
Prior to that, there were proposed regulations in 18, and essentially what the program does is that it incentivizes private capital to invest in low-income census tracts, right? And the way it does that is it allocates it. The law assigns responsibilities to governors to designate up to 25% of the state's eligible census tracts based on a poverty rate of 20% or area median income of less than 80%. New Jersey has an Opportunity Zone eligible census tract that is 715. From that 715, our governor then picked 169 areas to be designated as opportunity zones spread across 75 municipalities. And in Newark, the city of Newark, we have 13 of those census tracts. So on this slide, here is a map of Newark's opportunity zone. I think it is important for small businesses and property owners to know where the opportunity zones are in the city of Newark. Every ward has areas that are designated as LZs. In West Ward, the Fairmount neighborhood in Census Tract 14. In the West Ward, also the Census Tract 231 has parts of the Central Ward, parts of the South Ward, and parts of the West Ward that make up that opportunity zone. The South Ward has the Dayton neighborhood, Lower Clinton Hill, and Upper Clinton Hill neighborhoods in Census Tracts 41, 50, and 4802. Then in the East Ward, you have the industrial districts and the South Ironbound areas in Census Tract 68, 74, 7502, and 7501. And then in the Central Ward, you have three areas in the downtown area in Census Tract 80, 81, and 229, and in the North Ward, the North Broadway neighborhood in Census Tract 96. And now the reason why it is important for a small business and property owner to know if their property is located in an opportunity zone is because there are resources and programs that are tailored and targeted for those businesses and those properties, especially in light of the pandemic. And one example, and we're going to run through a few in this presentation, but one example is the New Jersey EDA grant program. Now that grant program is closed, but in the second phase, they had a $45 million grant to be allocated to small businesses across the state of New Jersey. But then they earmarked $15 million for businesses that were located in eligible census tracts. So you had to know whether your business was located in that 715 eligible census tract for you to be able to put that in your application for you to be considered for that $15 million that was set aside. Now, what I'm going to do here now is to sort of walk you guys through how to find out if your business is in a opportunity zone eligible census tract. Now, you could go to the website here, www.policymap.com. In that website, in the search bar, you could type in the address. In this example, I utilized the City Hall address at 920 Broad Street. Click enter, and if your property is in the purple shaded region, then you are in an opportunity zone eligible census tract. Now, to find out if you are in an opportunity zone within Newark, the state created a great website that we're going to talk about in greater detail in this presentation, but it is the newjersey.gov/governors/New Jersey opportunity zones. In that, to the left-hand corner, you could select opportunity zones, type in your address in the bar, hit enter, and if your property or business address is located in a shaded area of the map, then you are in an opportunity zone. And then you could utilize these sites to look up your address for property that you own, for businesses that you own, or any other address that you may be interested in. Now, the state also created a one-stop shop website that is a great resource for businesses, developers, investors, residents, and stakeholders. This website is very comprehensive. This is the homepage. If you scroll down a little further, you will see that there's a mapping tool, which is the mapping tool that we just looked at to find out if you are located in an opportunity zone in Newark. There is also an opportunity zone marketplace. And what's interesting about this marketplace is if you have a business or property that you're interested in trying to get funding for, or you are an investor looking to buy or invest in an opportunity zone, you could create a profile in this marketplace and then interact with other interested parties, other small business owners, other investors, and potentially have an opportunity to connect with an investor that may be able to fund your business, or connect with an owner that is interested in selling you their property that is located in an opportunity zone, or selling you their business that's located in an opportunity zone as well. Now, to explore what the content of this site is, especially for resources for businesses, developers, and investors, I'm not going to go through in detail all that stuff. You could, the website is above, and you could go in there and sniff through it. But I do want to highlight that you could see that you could click on the frequently asked questions to find out answers that you may have regarding opportunity zones. Opportunity Zone is also a program where you don't necessarily need to submit an application to a government agency or a state agency or city agency. You just need to self-certify. So that form is also below here, the Opportunity Zone self-certified form. There's a whole host of other resources. For instance, you could also get to the Opportunity Zone marketplace from this site. And then below is a bunch of programs that the state has, such as the Economic Redevelopment and Growth Programs, the Urban Enterprise Zone Programs for real estate folks, the low-income housing tax credits, multifamily housing production programs. These are all resources that are available to small businesses and developers that are interested, and also that just so happens also to be in opportunity zones. So I would strongly encourage you guys to go to this site and explore what this site has to offer. Now, for resources for residents and stakeholders, same deal here. In the blue section, there's a bunch of links that you could click on to have questions answered. There's a HUD Opportunity Zone Community Toolkit. There's Opportunity Zone strategies for nonprofits and community organizations. Again, I would encourage you, if you have any interest, to visit the site. It's very comprehensive, and I think it's something that everybody that has a business or property that's located in an opportunity zone should frequent and be familiar with. Now, so to talk about some of the resources that's available, especially in light of the pandemic, the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority has developed a grant program to assist small businesses with rental payments. And you have to be able to show that you have been adversely impacted by the coronavirus. What the program does, it's allocated about $6 million to fund this rental assistance. And for each applicant, you have a maximum of you can receive a maximum of $10,000. To be eligible, you do have to show that you are leasing a premises that is less than 5,000 square feet. If you have multiple locations, those locations will be aggregated. The applications for this program open on August 10th at 9 a.m. And I will encourage you to put that in your calendar to be able to take advantage of it. Also, Invest Newark is having a webinar on to walk small businesses through how to apply to this. I'll also strongly encourage you guys to sign up and attend that webinar to learn more about how to apply to this program. It is a great resource, especially for those businesses that have been impacted by the pandemic. Now, the New Jersey EDA has a Small Business Emergency Assistance Program. It is a $10 million pilot program that makes available a 1-year first loss guarantee for performing working capital loans and line of credits. You do have to originate those loans from premier lenders, and if you go to the sites provided below, you can find a list of lenders that will be able to provide this. There are eligibility requirements. For instance, you do have to have a physical location in the state of New Jersey. Unfortunately, home-based programs are not eligible at this time. You do have to show that you have less than $5 million in annual revenue, and that you have been impacted by COVID-19. Now, the SBA, Small Business Administration Loan Program, has been in existence for a while now, but as a result of the pandemic, what they've done is designated opportunity zones as additional areas where the 504 program job creation and retention requirement will be relaxed. And essentially what it does, currently you have to prove that that you're going to create or save one job per every $85,000 that is loaned to your business. They've relaxed that now for small businesses that are located in opportunity zones to only $75,000. So this is a great program to explore that provides fixed long-term financing to acquire fixed assets for expansion and modernization. Now, the Urban Zone Program is another program that has been in existence, but what is interesting about this program is that the map significantly overlaps with opportunity zones in Newark and also eligible opportunity zones, census tracts in the state of New Jersey. So if your business is located in any one of those zones, which is the opportunity zone or the eligible opportunity zones, the larger eligible opportunity zones in the state of New Jersey, chances are you're going to be able to qualify for this Hub Zone program. You do need to get certified for it. What it does is essentially sets aside about 3% of federal contracts for businesses that are located in this zone, and then gives a 10% price evaluation preference in full and open contract competition, right? And for you to qualify for this program, in addition to being located in a Hub Zone map, 51, you do have to show that you're a small business, and at least 51% of your business needs to be owned by a U.S. citizen. Then principal office, as I mentioned earlier, being located in a Hub Zone, and then at least 35% of your employees also needs to live within a Hub Zone. It's a great program to that limits the competition for those that are located in that map, and I'm going to show you how to find out if your business is located within the Hub Zone map. Now, to find out if your business is located in that zone, you go to map.certify.sba.gov/Hub Zone. You type in your address in the bar, in the search bar. In this instance, I utilize the City Hall address at 920 Broad Street. And if your business, hit enter, and if your business is located in that shaded area, then you know that your business is located, and you can go about trying to get that certification. Now, for those of you that are interested in exploring how to actually take advantage of the Opportunity Zone program, as I mentioned earlier, what it does is it incentivizes private capital to invest in opportunity zones. And the way it does that is through tax incentives. It does that through a tax deferral, a tax reduction, and a tax exclusion. And the way that works is if you own a property, a business, stock that you sell, and that results in a profit that is eligible for capital gains tax, the program allows you to redeploy that capital into an opportunity zone, and you don't have to pay your taxes due on that profit right away, right? So now, in this example, you sell your product. Let's say you sell your Facebook stock, you sell a business, a property in 2019. You don't have to pay out the taxes due on that until 2026, which is the drop dead date on which you have to make those tax payment, right? So that's the first benefit, which is the tax deferral. Then, if you hold on to that business for at least 5 years, or that investment that you made in an opportunity zone for at least 5 years, then you get a 10% step up in your basis, or said another way, a 10% reduction in the taxes that is due from that sale that happened 5 years prior. If you hold on to for 7 years, then there's an additional 5% that is added to the basis, bringing the aggregate to 15%. Said another way, that's a 15% essentially reduction in the taxes that you need to pay. In 2026, now that taxes are due, and then you're going to be paying whatever that amount is less 15%. Now, if you're looking to take advantage of that program today, because the drop dead date is December 31st, 2026, and there's less than 7 years left between now and 2026, the only reduction that you're eligible for is that 10%, because you don't quite meet that 7-year holding period to get the full 15%. So today you could take advantage of the program and defer your taxes and get a 10% reduction when your taxes are due in December 2026. Now that's the tax reduction. Now, if you hold on to that investment that you made in an opportunity zone for 10 years and a day, and in this example, 2029, then it's tax-free. You don't have to pay any capital gains tax if you decide to sell that business in 10 years time. That is an incredible tax incentive to encourage and incentivize private capital to invest in opportunity zones. Now, to kind of see how that works with numbers, let's take a look at this example. In this example, Bob and Cherie sold whatever the asset is, but they got a $15 million profit from the sale of that asset. Ordinarily, it will be taxed at capital gains rate of 20%. Now, let's assume that they have two options. One is to invest in a traditional portfolio with an annualized return of 7%, or they could also invest in a qualified opportunity fund portfolio also with an annualized return of 7%. Now, if you look at the blue shaded box to the left, right, at the time of the sale, the profit is 15%. But if they're invested in this traditional portfolio, they have to pay the 20% tax upfront, which is $3 million. So then they will have an after-tax gain of $12 million to invest in this traditional portfolio. By 2026, that portfolio would have grown to $20.6 million. And by 2029, that portfolio would have grown to $25.2 million. And then when they sell in 2029, they have to pay an additional tax on the gains of $2.6 million, right? So now you will see that the aggregate taxes paid in the traditional portfolio is $5.6 million, and their net gain is 22.6. Now let's explore the alternative. If they took the same $15 million profit and they decided to deploy that capital in an opportunity zone, now we're looking at the green shaded box to the right. In 2018, the first benefit kicks in, right? This is the tax deferral. They don't pay any taxes, no capital gains tax. So they get to invest the full $15 million into a qualified opportunity fund. With that extra $3 million, right, that is being invested, by 2026, that investment grows to 25.7%. That's a full $5 million more than a traditional portfolio where they started out investing $12 million because they've already paid that $3 million in taxes, and that aggregate investment being worth $20.6 million at that time, right? But in 2026, they have $5 million more and $25.7 million. But at that time, they have to now pay their taxes that is due, right? So that $3 million that they should have paid up front. But instead of paying $3 million, they get a tax reduction of 15%. So they're not paying $3 million anymore. They're paying $2.5 million on that original sale that happened in 2018. Now, the money is still invested, and by 2029, it grows to $31.5 million, right? And at which point they decide to sell, because now it's 10 years plus a day. At the end of that 10 years, there's no taxes due at all, right? So now you will see that the total taxes paid in this scenario since 2018 is only $2.5 million compared to in a traditional portfolio of $5.6 million. And they have a net gain with the Qualified Opportunity Fund of $29 million, which essentially represents a $6.4 million savings from $6.4 million savings as a result of investing in a qualified opportunity zone. That is the incentive. That is the incentive that the federal government has laid out to redeploy capital to low-income areas to help revitalize those areas and businesses that serve those areas. Now, to kind of understand how it works, and the Opportunity Zone program has a lot of complexity to it. As I mentioned earlier, it started out with 8 pages in that was inserted in that document, went through multiple proposed regulations, and now the final regulations is over 500 pages, right? There's a lot of tests, there's time sensitivities to it, there's a lot of thresholds that needs to be met, and if you're unable to meet those, then you're penalized, right? So for instance, you sell that stock or property or business, and now you want to redeploy that into a low-income census tract, right? The program gives you 180 days to deploy that capital into a qualified opportunity fund. what is great about it, though, is that you could elect when that 180 days starts, when that time starts ticking. So it could start ticking. For instance, let's use a real life example. You sold something in January this year. You could choose to have that 180 days start ticking in January after that sale. You could choose to have it start ticking from at the end of the year. And the reason that is because some people that are in partnerships or LLCs, they wouldn't know they wouldn't get their K1s until the end of the year. And to be able to know what their gains and losses are. You could elect to have it start at the end of the year, or you could elect to have it start when your tax is due, usually in March or April of 2021. Then once that capital is deployed, and also one thing is you don't have to invest that capital into a qualified opportunity fund that someone else has. You yourself could simply fill out a one-page form and submit that to the IRS and create your own fund. It's called a self-certified form. So you could have your own, essentially create your own qualified opportunity fund and go out and invest in opportunity zones. But once that capital is now in a qualified opportunity fund, 90% of the assets held by that fund needs to be in a qualified opportunity zone property. There's a test that is conducted twice a year, once on June 30th of every year, and the other is on December 31st of every year. And if you don't pass that test, then you're going to be penalized. But the thing is, as a result of this pandemic, the IRS came out with provisions that have suspended. Actually, suspension is not the right word. They have, if you fail the 90% asset test between now and the end of the year, you're not going to be penalized for it. And also, if your 180 days falls between April 1st and December 31st, then they will kick it back to December 31st. And that is to kind of give people the opportunity to deal with the pandemic and to be able to make the right decisions, as there's a lack of clarity and in the marketplace. This allows people to get a little bit more visibility and color and make the right decisions for themselves. Now, once the money is in a qualified opportunity fund, then you have to invest. You have to invest in a qualified. You could invest in a qualified opportunity zone directly or indirectly, right? Through a qualified opportunity zone business or qualified opportunity zone business property. Now, to qualify as a qualified opportunity zone business property, the property or business must meet two tests. One, the original use test, or it must be substantially improved. Essentially, what that means is that for those that are in real estate, it has to be a new development, right? You're building something from scratch and you're building it and you're developing it, new construction. Or if you have a business, you're starting a new business, or you're expanding an existing business, but it may be under a subsidiary, a different entity, but it's a new business that's being created in that opportunity zone, right? Or if you're buying an existing business or you are buying an existing property, then it must meet the substantially improved test. The way that works in a real estate context, and this also applies for business, is let's say that you buy a property for $1 million, right? $300,000 of that is allocated to the land and $700,000 is allocated to the improvement. Now, you have to invest 100% of the improvement, which is that $700,000, into that property or into the business to be able to show that it has been substantially improved. Now, unfortunately, what the IRS discourages is for a qualified opportunity fund to go out and buy land, for instance, in an opportunity zone, tar it, put some markers in there and use it as parking, and then try to claim the tax incentive. that's not going to count. They want you to be actively managing a business or actively managing that real estate. Another thing for real estate folks is if you have a property, or let's say this works, this usually happens in industrial properties where you sign triple net leases. Triple net leases is where the tenant is paying the rent, the operating expenses, insurance, taxes, and in so many instances, also taking care of any structural issues, damages, or repairs in the building. The IRS is not going to let you use that property to pass for an opportunity zone property because there's not an active management component to it. So these are what the requirements are. There are many more. For instance, if you're invested in a qualified opportunity zone business property or in a business, you have 70% of the assets needs to be in an opportunity zone. And a certain number of revenue from that business needs to be coming from an opportunity zone, given the fact that a business could have revenue coming from online or elsewhere. So there's a lot of complexities, and obviously if you're considering this, that you need to also talk to your tax your tax person and also a tax attorney as well. Now, the Opportunity Zone program has a lot of terms, and I've kind of used a lot of those terms here in this presentation. QOZ, QOF, QCP, yes.
Sorry, I just want to, someone has mentioned that they don't see the slide. So I just want to make sure, everyone, you should be seeing a slide that says Opportunity Zone Terms Explained. If you don't, please put something in the chat, but that should be the slide that you see, and has she'll be going over a number of the terms on this sheet. So hopefully everyone is seeing that.
Okay. Yeah, so these are just terms that, and there's a lot more that it relates to opportunity zones, the QOZ, QOFs, QOZP, QOZB, QOZBP. Obviously, the qualified opportunity zone is literally the areas that are designated opportunity zones. We went over that earlier in the slide. Newark has 13 areas, and I walked you guys through how to find out if you are located in a qualified opportunity zone. Qualified Opportunity Zone Fund essentially is a, if a taxpayer, for instance, if you wish to defer eligible gains, you have to invest through a qualified opportunity fund. You do that through a form, as I mentioned earlier, that you fill out and send out to the IRS, and now you have a fund that you could invest in, and it could be a corporation, an S corp, a partnership, an LLC. I would strongly encourage you to reach out to your accountant or tax attorney to also help you set this up, or you could invest in a qualified opportunity fund that has already been created and deploy your capital that way. Now, for qualified opportunity zone property, you have to conduct business in a qualified opportunity zone, either directly or indirectly, and meet the standards that I mentioned earlier, which is that test where at least 90% of the assets are in a qualified opportunity zone. That test is conducted every 6 months, and qualified opportunity zone property can either be qualified opportunity zone business, discussed, and I'm going to talk about that below, or an interest in a subsidiary corporation or partnership that conducts qualified opportunity zone business. For a qualified opportunity zone business, it is a qualified opportunity zone fund that conducts business directly or through a corporation or partnership subsidiary. And if it is done through a subsidiary, the subsidiary must meet the definition of a qualified opportunity zone business, which is essentially that the original use test that we discussed earlier, and the substantially improved test. And for a qualified opportunity zone business property, the property has to be purchased after 2017 from an unrelated party, and in general, either the original use of the property is in a qualified opportunity zone, beginning with the qualified opportunity fund or qualified opportunity zone business, or the qualified opportunity zone fund or the qualified opportunity zone business has been substantially improved. Unfortunately, for businesses that owned their property or business in before 2017, you cannot participate in the Opportunity Zone program unless you're going out to purchase a new property in a qualified opportunity zone. And the previous regulation had a provision in there where you could essentially sell your asset to a qualified, your business or asset to a qualified opportunity fund and retain some ownership in that qualified fund, but the final regulation disallowed that. So in my role here as in the city as the Chief Opportunity Zone Officer, I come in contact with, I speak to a lot of qualified opportunity funds. A lot of firms have raised hundreds of millions of dollars to invest in opportunity funds because of that tax incentive. And as you saw, that's a pretty, in that example, whereas Bob and Cherie sold 15 million, sold an asset and got that $15 million gain, they had 6.4 million reasons to invest in a qualified opportunity fund versus going through a traditional portfolio. So there are folks out there looking for deals nationwide. If your business is located in an opportunity zone or you own a property in an opportunity zone and you want to discuss what options you have that is unique to your situation, my contact is here. Please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to set up a meeting and discuss. Also, I'm happy to if you have a deal, whether it is a business deal or a real estate deal that you're considering that is an opportunity zone, happy to also discuss and potentially connect you with qualified opportunity zone funds that are interested in investing in the type of project that you're working on. Now, with that, that brings me to the end of my presentation. And I'm open to answering any questions that any of you may have.
Thank you very much, Chi. Yes, at this time, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. And also, you can turn on your video if you'd like. I see a couple of hands up. If you want, you can, again, you can unmute yourself or you can turn on your video. Also, there were a couple questions that was put into chat. I will happily read these out for Chi to address, or again, you can unmute yourself if you want to address them directly.
Hello, could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As far as the opportunity zones and being eligible for the grants, what is the time frame that the business had to be up and running?
Which grant are you talking about?
Okay, so I came in kind of you was already speaking, so I was trying to jot down as much as you were saying. But for the for small businesses, I know you saying that there was some kind I had to lease a business or own a business in Newark. And if it was in the opportunity zone, then I guess it would be eligible for some kind of grant. I just need to know exactly because I want to apply, but I don't know exactly if I qualify. So I just needed to know like what would be the time frame the business had to be in operation.
So I think the grant program that was available through the New Jersey Economic Development Administration, New Jersey EDA, that grant program is currently closed.
Okay.
At this time. It's what they did do though. Okay, they had $45 million that was for their second round because the first round was oversubscribed. And then they set out $15 million for businesses that were located in opportunity zone eligible census tract. Now, what the governor just announced maybe is that they are giving an additional $15 million to the New Jersey EDA to continue to review applications that were already in, but before the funds ran out. But what is available now, though, is if your business has been impacted by COVID-19, and that the state could assist you with your rental payments. There are some qualifications, such as you have to have leased a space that is less than 5,000 square feet to be able to take advantage of that. But Newark, Invest Newark is going to have a webinar on Tuesday that will walk you guys through step by step how to apply. That application, or the application opens up on August 10th at 9 a.m. And there's only $6 million and it's statewide, so it's going to probably run out within seconds. So attend the webinar on Tuesday with Invest Newark, and then set your alarm to wake up early and to start applying.
Okay, so all right, so I am affected because they're only allowing us to work at like a half capacity because I'm a salon.
Okay.
So with the salons, it's really it's not. I can't work as I used to because of COVID. They don't want us having the waiting area. They don't want other people. They don't want us bouncing back and forth like how we used to. So my clientele, it's like really stretched out. It's not as high as it used to be because of what's going on. So would that be considered an issue as far as that I would be able to apply?
I don't know. I think Vanessa, I saw you try to jump in. Go ahead.
Sure. Yes, obviously, your capacity has been reduced, so you are definitely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. I would just ensure that wherever there is in the questionnaire that you can complete, you can ask that you have reduced capacity. You can say that you have a reduced capacity, therefore reduced profit, due to ensuring that you're abiding by the New Jersey state health standards of social distancing, and also obviously municipal regulations as far as, only using 25% of the of your occupancy. So definitely put that, and on the different corresponding organizations, they'll be reviewing it, but that certainly is COVID-19 related.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your help.
You're welcome. There were a couple other questions that were in the chat, I believe. Let me go back. There was a question regarding, are any of your funders doing investments in businesses rather than just real estate? Yeah, Chi, that was a question I had. Do you, as well, how much information do you get to know, what businesses are considered an opportunity zone business, and do you have that list that people can say, all right, what businesses can I invest in?
So there's no restrictions in terms of the business as long as the business is located in an opportunity zone. Now, I will say 90% of the capital that has been raised is more interested in real estate than operating businesses, but there are qualified opportunity funds that are also looking at operating businesses, right? But it's just that the way this program was set up, it lends itself is better to real estate projects, but that does not exclude any business that is located in an opportunity zone. It's just going to be a little tougher to find a qualified opportunity fund that would be interested in making that investment. But there are about 10 to 15% out there that are interested in businesses.
Let me follow up on that. So if a business model is to invest in businesses in opportunity zones, can that business be funded through an opportunity zone funder, even though not all the funding is immediately allocated?
So let me understand your question. So your business is, you already have a business now and you're looking to expand into an opportunity zone? Is that what it is?
No, the business is in an opportunity zone and it funds other businesses in the opportunity zone. So can it get money from a QOF to invest in it so that it can disperse more money to businesses in the opportunity zones?
Ah, okay, I see.
So the money wouldn't be immediately going into the businesses that are the, I guess, secondary businesses.
So what the way that would work is you would have to create a qualified opportunity fund.
Ah,
That's the only way that you're going to be able to invest in a business that is located in an opportunity zone and then take advantage of the tax incentive. Now you
okay.
could do that yourself, and then what you do then is once you have that fund, you could then raise capital from other folks that have money to invest
Right.
in opportunity zones.
Okay.
I'll encourage you to talk to your tax person and also a tax attorney to kind of walk you through how to set it up.
Okay.
It's very complex and tricky, so you don't want to make any mistakes.
Right.
But that's something that you could do, and it's a one pager that you could just self-cert, have them walk you through that application and send it out, and you're good to go.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
There was another question earlier as well in the chat room. Are home-based businesses that are located in a hub zone eligible for the program?
That home-based businesses, that I am not sure. But I will imagine, because if you're able to perform a contract, because the hub zone is about, having a certain percentage of available federal contracts earmarked for businesses that are located in that zone, right? Where it's less competition, et cetera, right? So if you could show that you could perform that work, I will imagine that, whether you don't have to have a physical location, but that's something that you would have to look into. I'm not clear on that.
One question I had, you've already mentioned about a tax attorney. Can anyone contact you, sit down with you with their tax attorney to talk about what they're contemplating and what other steps they need to take?
100%, with or without a tax attorney. If you want to have a preliminary conversation first before going to your professional, 100%. I'm also happy to have that conversation with that professional on the phone. This program is very complex, and it's just understanding it to not make that mistake, because the issue here is when you get to that 10-year period, right? You don't want to get to that point and then you realize that, hey, there were stuff that you missed that disqualifies you from that tax incentive, right? So that's why you need to be careful about approaching it.
Now, besides a tax attorney, is there any other type of professional that they need to have on board?
Probably a tax lawyer as well. Because what the tax lawyer is going to do is going to kind of structure the entity in a way that is OZ friendly.
Okay. Are there any more questions? Well, with that, Chi, any last tips for everyone? I did tell everyone through the chat that I'll be able to send them the slides this afternoon, as long as they send me an email to vquijano@investnewark.org. And I'll be able to send them the slides that you shared with me previously. This was very helpful. I think, for me, I knew about NJEDA with their grant assistance program, how it did expand to the Opportunity Zone Census Tracts. I did not know that the SBA's 504 loan is now has lowered the cap for in order to get their loan. And, I've worked with the SBA 504 loan before. That is another great funding source with typically a very low interest rate. So, that was good to know. And really, another great thing I learned was about the hub zone map, that the ownership doesn't need to be 100% by a U.S. citizen, that it only really is needed by 51%. A lot of businesses have partners. It's not just one person. And, the U.S. is a melting pot. Not everyone has their green card or their U.S. citizenship, and it's difficult to apply for those loans if you don't have it. And it's great to hear that that is an opportunity that is available for businesses that have partners or any business owners that aren't a full U.S. citizen yet.
Yeah, one more thing too is with the SBA loans, the 7A program as well has expanded access to capital to underserved markets. And that includes opportunity zones where community advantage lenders are required to make at least 60% of their loans in these underserved markets. So also in addition to the 504, the 7A program is also
That's
useful.
great. Yes, thank you. Chi, this was, very helpful. As you already said, the Opportunity Zone program is quite complex, but the incentives to do so, whether it's tax deferral or tax reduction or tax inclusion, you demonstrated how, you could really increase your investment by ensuring that you go through the Opportunity Zone. I really appreciate what you shared today. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Well, everyone, thank you very much. Have a great afternoon and a great weekend. Again, for the slides, thank you, George, for sharing what I sent earlier. Send an email to me at vquijano@investnewark.org. And for our future events, make sure you go to investnewark.eventbrite.com. Last thing, make sure that you get found as businesses are reopening, whether it's products or professional services. Ensure you add your business to our Invest Newark business directory. So with that, thank you very much again, Chi, and definitely reach out to Chi. He's got a lot of information and knowledge to help you.
All right. Thank you, guys.